Sir, it's
This
audible.
call is now being recorded.
Okay, let's starts our class. Okay, tell me please, is there any uh, fan sound is disturbing you, or it is clearly audible to you all? My voice
Yes, sir. It's clearly audible.
audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, should we start now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good.
I think, sir.
So,
Sorry, sir.
okay, tell me what you want to say.
No, 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 sir. I think uh, 2 to 3 people are yet to join, sir.
Okay, that means you want to say to wait some time. Wait for some
Yes.
time. Okay, so we'll wait for another 2-3 minutes and then we'll start. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we will start now. Hmm? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we will start. Your friends may be joining later on, but we will start our class. Once again, I welcome you all to this class. Yesterday, we were discussing on social work practicum and overview, and under this block, we discussed social work practicum concept, meaning, nature, importance, and scope. Then Unit 2, history of social work practicum, development of fieldwork education. Unit 3, social work practicum, global and national scenario. Unit 4, social work practicum in open and distance learning. Yesterday, we have discussed regarding all these subjects. Now today, we will discuss the block 2. Okay. Under the social work practicum and supervision, today we will be discussing on block 2. Right? Hello. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So block 2 today we will discuss. The main topic is social work practicum and supervision under this MSW-005. Under this block 2 is roles and expectations in social work practicum. Roles and expectation in social work practicum. And it is also divided into 4 units. The number 1 unit is orientation for social work practicum. Number 2 is unit 2, roles and expectation in social work practicum. Number 3, roles and expectation of social work training institute. Number 4, principle and skills for social work and agency practice. Right. So, what is the main topic of today's discussion? That is roles and expectation in social work practicum. You know, roles and expectation. Roles, you have to act different kind of roles. Understand? The supervisor have to act different type of roles. The learner has to act different type of roles, and the expectation has different from expectation from the supervisor to the from the agency, and agency from the supervisor, supervisor to social worker, and social worker to supervisor. So today we will be discussing the different roles and expectation in social work practical in field work, right? So first unit we will start now, that is orientation for social work practical. Unit 1, okay. Unit 1, whatever there in your book that I will discuss with you. And in addition to your book, I can also explain some of the important things which will help you for smoothly accomplishment of your field work practicum. Understand? So, as I was saying to you, there are so many components of social work. Like I was saying to you, orientation visit, concurrent field work, and your block placement, internship, etc. These are different type of your field practicum components. So out of these components, we'll be discussing today the orientation for social work practicum. The orientation for social work practicum. Understand? So you must be knowing prior to start of your concurrent field work, means 45 days concurrent field work, you supposed to do the orientation visit to different organizations. That organization must be registered, and it should be work in the field of social welfare activities. So, basing on that, you have to select or elect, you have to select or choose some of the organizations where you will placed for your orientation visit. Okay. So, say it is any government organization or non-government organization, whatever may be, but you have to do the orientation visit. Unless you are not doing the orientation visit, your work will not be accomplished. In India or in other countries also, this orientation visit is very, very important part. So, social work exists because it fulfills crucial social needs. Social work services people and society where there is malfunctioning or inadequacy. Enhancing the human potential is another important aspect of social work. Social workers provide important services to help people solve problems that limit their functioning and services to enhance the quality of their lives. So, in orientation visit, uh, generally we get some knowledge from the different agencies. Some of the agencies are working on uh, women empowerment. Some of the organizations that are working for disaster management. Some of the organizations are working for livelihood. Different organizations are working in different areas. So whatever may be the organization, you must visit those organizations as a part of your concurrent field practicum. So there you may be visiting families, or you may be interacting with individuals and groups, communities, whatever may be, but you need to visit the that organization, and you must have to possess some of the skills so that you can effectively visit those organizations and opt some knowledge or acquire some knowledge, and that knowledge will help you for your professional career building. Now, we'll be discussing some of the important points, uh, that is orientation to the practicum. In most cases, students will have a formal orientation to the field agency. During the orientation, students will be provided the information such as the agency personnel and their roles, a tour of the building, where to find out and field agency paperwork, how to request supplies needed for the job, agency policies and procedures, protocols for servicing clients within the agency, and expectation in terms of timeliness to work and professional dress code. Student must remember, as they enter their field placement, they will no longer be viewed as a student in the classroom, but as representative of the agency. They should present themselves in both dress and demeanor as such. In addition, unspoken rules should be observed by the students. For example, observation of how the social work staff conduct their practice with clients is important to note. My dear students, when you will visit uh, to any developmental organization, any organization, you should remember that your dress code, your facial appreciation, your behavior, your attitude will taken into consideration. That means it will be measured by the agency people. That's why you must be very cautious while you are visiting to any organization. Say it is for 1 day or 2 days, whatever may be. But in orientation visit, you must understand that you are representing to an organization, that is IGNO. You are not only visiting yourself, you are going through an organization, which organization is a nationwide familiar organization, and through that organization you are entering into that organization. So therefore, you need to do some kind of activities there in that organization. What kind of activities? Like, you have to know the who is the chief functionary of the organization, and liaising office address, present address, liaising office address, goals, mission, vision, board members, sources of fundings, is that organization affiliated to any other organization, infrastructures, present infrastructure, future plan, and some other things which is relevant to your study, that you have to find out, or that you have to explore from that organization, as well as a brief history of that organization. You should not forget that when you are visiting to any organization, every organization having some sort of history. That history, how it was began, who were the primary members, and gradually how it is developed, and what are their area of expertise, focused area, thrust areas, what is their annual turn, turnover, how much funding they are getting from outsources, and what is their own income, everything you try to understand. And that will help you for your professional career building, for your professionalism. If you are just visiting to that organization and just coming down, coming back, then there is no meaning of that visit of that organization. Then now we will discussing international practicum comes through students exchange. Okay, whatever I have understood, that I am telling to you in in short because we have to cover 4 units. Here, international practicums through students exchange. That means you have an opportunity that you can go abroad for your internship, for your block placement, for your concurrent fieldwork also through the permission through the permission of your IGNO. And the abroad students also can come to our India. They can also do their field practicum here in India. You might be knowing there is a class conducted by IGNO. I am so happy that the abroad students are attending the classes through the IGNO. So likewise, they are in their state and sitting at their state, they are attending these classes. But this this field practicum, that means uh, international practicums through students exchange, it implies the students from abroad will come to India and our student can also go to abroad. It is the student's willingness, it is the student's desire. If the students are willing to go outside, then the IGNA will facilitate them to reach over there and they will see the safety and productivity of the students. How the students can learn more, those things they will see clearly. And whoever coming from outside, for them also, the IGNO will look after. So these systems is, we call it is this uh, student exchange program. So this type of, for 6 months or for 1 year, sometimes some students are going outside and foreign students also coming to our India. So this opportunity also here in our, I mean, perform different roles in different situations. I will just cite, I will just cite an examples. Suppose you are a student, you are performing a role in your family, elder brother or elder sister, or if you are married, then you may be acting as a wife, sometimes you may be acting as a mother. When you are coming to office, you are acting as an officer, right? So, like this, there are different type of role performance we are performing in our day-to-day life. Likewise, there are some roles that you need to perform during the field practicum. That is why roles and expectation in social work practicum. So roles, what would be your roles and what would be the others' roles? It is clearly mentioned in this book that I am discussing with you. If you thoroughly understood all these things, then there would be no any problem for doing your field practicum practically for you all. Okay. So now we'll be discussing roles and expectation in the social work practicum. Uh, Following areas in order to case the integrating process. Role of fieldwork students. What would be the role of fieldwork student? Now you are the students. You are continuing the MSW course and you supposed to do the field practicum in any organization. So what would be your role? There are 7 roles prescribed here, mentioned here. I'm just discussing 3, 4, 5 roles. Thereby you can understand that what would be your actual role. Number 1, understanding the mission, services, population or community served policies and funding. I have already discussed with you, when you are going to any organization, you must understand the mission of that organization, what kind of service they are rendering, that you have to understand, and what is the targeted area, means area as well as population, which area they are working and what is the population of that area, you have to understand. Okay, and how they are getting the funding, whether they are getting funding from out abroad or they are generating funding from their organization itself. Whatever, what are the sources of funding, that you have to understand. And find out what discipline and service is the primary focus of the organization. Comprehend the knowledge, values, and skills needed. List the knowledge and skills expected to be learned in the fieldwork experience. Acknowledge the strengths possessed that would help in the experience. Familiarize the traditional roles the students have previously taken up. List out questions that one would like to ask the supervisor. Whatever, what sort of questions comes to your mind, if you are not getting it properly, then you can ask to your uh, supervisor during your IC or individual conference. So sometimes you may not be understanding that I will, on what basis I'll be doing in this organization, what will be my role, and how I will find out all these things, that questions may comes to your mind. Mind it, whenever you are facing any kind of problem, you keep in touch with your field supervisor. He will get clear to all of your doubts. Now, there are some general guidelines for students and fieldwork instructor for optimizing the fieldwork experience. When you want to expand your fieldwork experience, you need to follow some guidelines. What are those guidelines? Observing experienced social workers perform their roles. Gain orientation to specialized cases and practice approaches. Observing or experienced social workers perform their roles. That means which social workers are doing good work, you have to observe their roles, their experience, and you can also imitate them, you can also follow them. Another thing is gain orientation to specialized cases and practice approaches. You need to know some of the things which you do not know, and there you are working in that organization. You need to gain some extra orientation about that particular work or particular activities. Engage in collaborative co-facilitation activities. You need to engage yourself and collaborative and facilitation activities, and that is also very much important. Invite and accept feedback of done. This is very important. Whatever you are working, whatever you are doing, you need to, I mean, uh, whatever you are doing, that after doing the work, you need to take the advice of your supervisor. I have already told to you that there are two supervisors. One is agency supervisor, another one is faculty supervisor or the IGNO approved supervisor. Understand? So you may taking the feedback of those supervisors. This is one of the guidelines that you need to understand. Then request direct supervision. What is that? You have to request to your supervisor, agency supervisor, as well as your faculty supervisor to supervise you directly, not indirectly. That means you have to invite him that, sir, please accompany with me for my work, so that you can able, so that you can learn more and feel comfortable. Develop more self-awareness. This is very important. You have to conscious yourself. Self-awareness means you need to aware yourself regarding work activities, regarding performance of your performance role, regarding performance of your activities, etc. Because if you are not self-aware, you cannot able to do the work effectively. Welcome support and encouragement. Whoever giving you support or encouragement, please accept it. Please accept it. Suppose you did any good work and somebody is giving compliments to you, somebody is praising you, you accept it. You should not take it otherwise, rather you have to accept, so that you can effectively work in your day to day activity. Obtain training in group work, and sometimes you can also experience the uh, uh, among the group in the group work activities. Improve diagnostic skills. Diagnostic skills means whatever your work doing in your field, you have to cross check it whether it is correct or wrong. From your side, you have to diagnose that. That means you have to evaluate yourself that whether it is correct or not. Whatever you did, suppose you from starting from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock, you were there in the field, and after that, you have to, at the end, after conclusion of your work or end of the work, you have to diagnose yourself that whether you have done it well or not. That is very important. Unless you are not diagnosing yourself, you cannot able to do the effective work. That is why in casework study there is a component of casework, that is person, problem, place, and process. Process is divided into three types. One is study, diagnosis, and treatment. So likewise, here after study means after doing the work, what you have to do? You have to diagnose the work. Whatever you did that one, whether it is up to the mark or it is not up to the mark, that you have to diagnose. And then come to the treatment. That means come to the implementation stage. Here what happened? Whatever you did, at the end you diagnose, and then in the finally in the next day again you have to do the activities effectively. Try to do the activities effectively. Then now we will be discussing expectation of the students from social work programs. Completion of practicum from required by the agency and the school. This is the expectation of a learner. As a learner, as a student, what would be your expectation? Smoothly, how you will complete your field practicum smoothly. Say it is 45 days or say it is 30 days. Smooth completion is your expectation. How it will be smooth complete? By the cooperation of your agency supervisor, by the cooperation of your field uh, super agency and the faculty supervisor, as well as the your study center. All need to cooperate you so that you can successfully complete your field practicum. Verification of health status and completion of health related requirements, immunization, medical test, or health related precaution and regulations. It is, if you are working in a health sector, then these things will come. And if you are whatever area you are working, accordingly you have to verify the things. Verification of malpractice coverage. Completion of personal information, background, criminal records, child abuse, checks, health information, or drug screening. It is written combinedly, so it may be confusing you. What I mean to say, suppose you are working in an agency where they are working from for drug de-addiction activities, and some of the organization working for criminal uh, uh, jail inmates. Some of the organizations who are working in jail, that means jail welfare activities. It is related to, I mean, the um, jail related, that means criminal related. So these things are written here. So beside this, if you are working in a women empowerment organization or in or the climate change organization, there you have to explore these related to those information from the organization. That will be your expectation from the organization itself. So it is differ to organization. What type of organization you are placed, accordingly, your expectation will be from their organization. And it is your duty to explore the information from the organization. Now we will be discussing students' expectation of the field supervisor. What will be the expectation from the students from the field supervisor? Number one, be commitment to the educational growth and development of the student. It is the role of a supervisor. That means the supervisor has to deliver this type, some of the responsibilities, and that would be the that is the so that the students or learner will get the facilities. So here what happened? Students' expectation from the supervisor means what kind of expectation you all should be, that is written here from your fieldwork supervisor. Be committed to the educational growth and development of the student. Take on the role of a mentor. Show respect and fair treatment. Provide continued feedback of students' strength and areas of growth. Communicate supervisors' expectation of students. Evaluation, philosophy, availability, supervisory sessions, contacts and resources, support in developing a plan of learning, orientation of activities, staff, schedule opportunities to observe instructor, staff and other students, case assignments, staff students collaboration, provide information, agency, feedback parameters, structure, organization plan, students, role, etc. This is some of the role of a supervisor. That means through this role or through this duty, the students will get the facilities. Student will expect these many things from a field supervisor. I don't want to explain more because you must be understood all these points which I have already read. Like take on the role of a mentor. Who will take the role of a mentor? A supervisor should role as a mentor to up to the completion of concurrent fieldwork or field practicum of a student. Time to time he has to advise, time to time he has to look after the problem of the student, so that a student will encourage the student can do his concurrent fieldwork effectively. That must be the duty of a field supervisor. So respect and fair treatment. So respect and fair treatment means a supervisor, field supervisor has to respect to the student, and he has to treat as his own brother or sister or relatives. No doubt in social work, there is two type of relationship. Can you say anybody what is the relationship of a teacher and student? Anybody can say? There are two type of relationship that we maintain in our society.
Sir,
Which relationship should be maintained by a faculty supervisor? That means the field supervisor towards the student. Tell me, anybody?
one is sir professional,
Very good.
like he's a teacher. He's a teacher and we are students. That relationship another is personal.
Good. Right. That is not personal, social. Okay.
Sir, sir,
Social and professional. Understand?
sir,
So that is personal. It is also, you are also right. Personal and professional, or social and professional. Professional relationship is very much important between the field supervisor and the student. Sometimes we say we are boss, we are administrator. We should not think like that. As a teacher, we should behave, conducive behave towards the student. So the student will feel comfortable, right? Then now we'll be discussing the expectation, the student's expectation of the faculty supervisor. As I was saying to you, there are two supervisors. One is agency supervisor, another one the faculty supervisor who is appointed by the IGNO. Now, what is his duty? What is his role towards the students? And student, what expect from the, the faculty supervisor. Now, number one, serve as a link between the agency, field instructor, and social work program. A agency supervisor should act as a good facilitator, so that he can bridge the gap between the field supervisor, community people, agency, as well as the study center, so that the students will not face any problem. Sometimes when students come to me, I don't want to bother to study center. Whatever I have knowledge, that I am explaining them and giving them encourage. Thereby, the students are feeling comfortable and they are doing their work, and at the end, they also going to contact with the study center. Because if you will burden to the study center, regional center, then also sometimes because they are overloaded with different type of activities. So we need to contact with the fieldwork supervisor, and fieldwork supervisor should extend optimum help to the students. Okay, so he is the bridge between he is the mediator between the field instructor as well as social work program and the agency. Orient the student to the fieldwork process and social work program expectations. Orient the students to the fieldwork process. What is the process that a student should follow so that he can easily do the field practicum? Sometimes, since I have a lot of experience in this particular field, students get confused that how they will do their field practicum. They do not understand properly. It is very easy. It is very easy. First of all, you have to contact to your supervisor. Then, or else you can contact to direct to your study center. Study center will involve, give some address to your fieldwork supervisor, whom you are feeling comfortable with him or her. You may be doing your field practicum. Then you will select some of the organization. Then after selecting the organization, you can write an application to the study center, and study center will write a letter to the concerned organization for your field placement. The original copy will send to the agency, and one copy will be with you, and another copy will be to the your fieldwork supervisor, মানে agency supervisor. Sorry, जो faculty supervisor. After that, you will continue the fieldwork activity. This is the process. Then, prior to 45 days concurrent fieldwork, you have to contact with your fieldwork supervisor. The fieldwork supervisor will instruct you for orientation visit, 5 orientation visit. Which organization is what are the organization that you have to visit? If you are getting confused, or if you are not able to select or choose, or if you are not comfortable with the organization, you take advice with your fieldwork supervisor. Fieldwork supervisor will guide you to select some of the organization where you will do your orientation visit. After completion of that orientation visit, in one organization you are doing 45 days concurrent field work. Again, out of these 5 organizations, you may be selecting one, or except these 5 organizations, you may be selecting one. But prior to sending the letter, you may be interacting with that organization, or if you have no any rapport, if you have no any relation, you are very new to that organization, directly study center can also send a letter, request letter on behalf of you. And they must allow you to do your fieldwork activities, because no one is denying. I have no such experience that any organization who have denied to take the students. But it is true, if the students is trying to cheat, that means after joining there, if the students is not going, then they may be irritating. And at the end of the field practicum, they may be issuing a certificate, they may not be giving you certificate. This problem will occur if you are cheating to your field practicum. It is very frank, I am telling to you. Therefore, looking into all this factor, if you are selecting, then your program will be, your field practicum will be complete properly. Inform and assist the student about the learning agreement, tasks, activities, evaluation, criteria, and outcomes. The faculty supervisor must inform to the student regarding the learning agreement, tasks, activities, evaluation, criteria, and outcomes. Friends, you must be knowing, and some of you might be not knowing, out of your 100 marks, there is a breakup of 100 marks. Try to understand. Many students, they are not understanding all these things. Even though it is there in your field practicum, the last page, you please see in your field practicum book, there is in the last page, evaluation page, there you will find out sincerity of your field practicum, how long you are attached with your or taking suggestion from your faculty supervisor, whether you improving or not, you are timely submitting your field practicum or not, whether you have attended fully the orientation visit, whether you are improving to know the field practicum activities or field practicum protocols, rules, regulation. There is a pro forma there. According to that pro forma, 10 marks, 10 marks, 10 points are there. 10 into 10 into, I think, 100. Yes or no? So you have to very cautious to that one. And no teacher are, every teacher are very linear. That means they are very flexible to your work activities. They are not strict. If they will be strict to you, then you might be losing some marks. So therefore, they are not strict towards you. But you need to see those aspects. Basing on that aspect, if you are doing your field practicum, then you will be getting a good mark. Right? Sometimes, as a fieldwork supervisor, we are also writing false things that students are very punctual, etc., etc. But we know that this, how much student is punctual. It is very pathetic. So, my dear students, those who have attended today, at least you should be very punctual to your criteria of field work. Whatever criteria is given to your field work, that you need to uh, discharge. Otherwise, it is not good for you. Respond to questions regarding field work, mediate conflicts, advocate on behalf of the student. Anything problem occurs between the agency and the students, we need to advocate. As a faculty supervisor, we need to advocate, we need to mediate to resolve the problem. Means problem. Suppose any problem, any fighting, anything sometimes occurring between the agency and the students, between the agency instructor or supervisor and the students. By that time, a faculty supervisor role is to uh, minimize or solve the problem of that particular issue. This is very important. Now, we'll coming to the learning expectation while working with individual, families, and groups. I have to complete the 4 units, so I have to go in faster. So please bear with me. Capability for critical thinking, conceptual understanding, and integration of values and theories. While working with individual families and groups, learning expectation. Whose learning expectation? The students' learning expectation must be based on this capability for critical thinking. A student need to be capable enough to think critically, analytically. Whatever situation comes to you, you should think in a different dimension so that you can able to solve the problem. Then professional competency, flexibility, self-initiative, and risk-taking. This is professional competency. This professional competency means you need to be flexible. Your work need to be flexible. Your thinking need to be flexible. You need not to be rigid one. As well as self-initiative. Self-initiative means self-motivated. Nobody will motivate you. You need to motivate yourself. The moment when you are not motivating yourself, you will die. It is general phenomena also. So you need to motivate yourself and risk taking. Whatever risk comes to you, you try to bear the risk. It may be the financial constant, it may be the time constant, it may be the relationship constant. Whatever constant comes to you, you take the risk. Unless anybody is not taking risks, no one will succeed to his life, in his life. Those people have already succeeded in their life, they have taken the risks. Risks, that is very much important. So the students need to, during their learning, these many things need to learn. Then leadership ability, communication, advocacy, and commitment to social change. These many things is also very, very important. Leadership ability. If a person having no leadership ability, he or she has to be capable enough to take charge of leadership. Understand? If leadership must have communication skills. A leader must have the communication skills. A leader must have the advocacy skills. A leader must have the commitment to social change. Who do not have the commitment for social change, he cannot become a good leader. So, in order to become a leader, you need to have the commitment towards your work, assigned work, commitment towards your students' guidance. Unless you do not have the committed, you cannot able to change your student. You cannot able to develop your student. You cannot able to do effectively your work activities. Therefore, leadership is very, very much important. Now we'll be discussing learning expectation with working with organization and communities. What will be the learning expectation? What will be your expectation during working in the organization and communities? As I was saying to you, you will be placed in a organization. And after placing the organization will send to the community. So what things you will learn from the organization? What things you will learn from the community? That you have to understand. First one is budgeting and financial management. In the organization, I was saying to you, there is a management process that follows by the organization. What is that? Planning, organizing, staffing, coordinating, directing, budgeting, reporting. In short, we also said it's post-core, P-O-S-D-C-O-R-B, post-core. If you have notebook, then you can note down post-core. All organizations follow the post-core. In order to function an organization, the post-core formula is very much important. So the first of all, when you are placed in an organization, your expectation should be from the organization. You have to know how that organization is formulating the budget. What is their budget? How they are manage the budget. Then working with boards, how they are working with the board members. Organizational design, development, assessment and diagnosis, computer information system and other technology, human resource management, selection, training, supervision and staff uh, compensation, management including use of affirmative action principle, marketing management techniques. These are some of the things which they should know during their study period. Who will know? The students should know. Where? From the organization. Because you are placed in organization, and from that organization you may be going for field work activities to the community. But beside doing your community work, you need to also know these things from the organization. What is the organizational structure of the organization? What are the sources of funding? How they are reporting? How they are staffing? That means how they are selecting, how they are imparting training. What is their supervision strategy? What is their staff compensation? Computer information system and other technology. What are the technologies they use in their organization for the effectiveness of that organization? That you have to understand. Unless you are not understanding, you cannot become a professional. If you are understanding, then only you can consider as a professional. If not, then you are not professional. Only you will obtain a certificate. Certificate, everybody can get a certificate, but certificate will not give you a job. Your skill, your ability, your capacity, your capability, your leadership, your competencies will give you the job. Sometimes in joke I say to our students, to you all also, you may be getting first class certificate, but when you will apply for any job, they will interview you. And in interview, there are two types of interview, mostly conducted by any kind of organization. One is written, another one is GDPI, means personal interview and group discussion. Friends, you may be pass in written. If you are not pass in personal interview, then you are failed. Therefore, and also group discussion. Therefore, you need to have that skills, communication skill, analytical skills. They may be asking some critical question, and you have to analytically you have to answer. If you are not answering, then you will fail. And students are working in low salaries also, and our students are working in high salaries. They are getting sizable amount. How? Because they are professionally strong. That is why. If they are placed in this organization, they will be knowing all these things. Next one is, we'll discuss the next chapter, that is from Unit 3, Roles and Expectation of Social Work Training Institute. Roles and Expectation of Social Work Training Institute. Now, minimum criteria for Social Work Training Institute. Social Work Training Institute, what are the Social Work Training Institutes? Which institutes absorbs you? Which institutes imparting training or MSW course? Which institutes absorbing you as a trainee of their organization? These institutes should have some minimum criteria. They should maintain some minimum criteria. And if they are not coming under, or they are not fulfilling the criteria of the social work practicum, then that institute will not allow to place you. Therefore, minimum criteria for social work training institute. What are those social work training institute must have? That we will discuss now. 2-3 points we will discuss. An agency that is registered is preferred over an agency that is not registered. Very clearly it is written. Whenever you are selecting any organization, you have to see that whether that organization is registered or not. If it is registered state level, if it is registered sub-regional level, a district level or national level, it is okay. You have to prefer registered organization. Say it is Trust Act or it is Society Act or Society or whatever may be. That you need to 1816 or whatever may be the registration act. But it should be a registered one. It should be a formal organization where you will learn more good things instead of informal organization. Another one, it is one of the eligibility criteria, or it is a criteria of training institute. An agency that has professional social workers employed who are available for guiding learners is preferred over an agency that does not have trained social workers. Another thing is that if the organization lacking of any professional, means no MSW professionals are working in that organization is not eligible to take the field practicum students into their organization. Because the professional can only guide to the professional students. Non-professionals cannot guide. As I was saying that everybody is doing voluntary activities, welfare activities. Those who have not the MSW qualification, they are also heading the organization, big organization. It's not that they do not have knowledge, but in some areas they are lacking, which professional social worker or MSW professional knows, he may not be knowing all those things. Even I can say the MSW students, sometimes those who have not gone through the field practicum and all, and they have got the pass mark and they are having the certificate, they also not able to guide properly to the students. Then how come without MSW qualification, a supervisor can guide effective to our student? So it is one of the criteria that the training institute must have the professional in their organization. If they do not have the professional, they can also engage some other professional to their organization on behalf of their organization to guide the student. That is also one of the option given IGNOU for their students. The agency should have a well-defined structure and well-defined rules for its employees as opposed to a loosely structured agency with informal lines. An agency that provides a variety of services from simple to complex so the learner can obtain a diverse experience. Friends, this is very important. Many points are there. We will just important points only we will be discussing. An agency that reflects the philosophy and practices of social work. An agency committed to providing quality educational experiences to the learners and help them become good social workers. This is very, very important. The last one is very, very important. The agency must have committed towards the students, learners. They should provide some time, they should give some time to their students. If they are not giving sufficient time, if they are not available to the students, if they are not guiding properly, if they are not cooperating, then students will not able to learn more. That is why it is the duty of a training institute or the agency, they should provide the optimum support to the trainees. Now, College of Social Work, this is not again, fieldwork standards and activities, employment-based practicums. Sometimes what happen, while we are placing to any students, some organization provide some stipend to the trainee also. It is not, denied. If any organization is providing stipend to the trainee during the field practicum, it is accepted. Suppose they accept the trainee as their, staff, part-time staff, and they will assign to some of the assignments, and that student is doing that assignment. In return, they will be providing some sort of money to that student. There is no any restriction on this. Okay, so the agency is expected to provide an internal, external, offsite MSW to provide. Anyway, so this is what the things that has to be understood by the trainee. When we are writing the students, if you have any provision to provide any kind of support to our student, then you can extend your support. There is no any restriction for that. That is why it is said the employment-based practicum means you are doing some kind of work perfectly, and in return you will get some money from the organization also. There is no any problem. That is why sometimes I advise to some of my students, while they going for any kind of activities, you can ask to the organization if they are ready to provide you some sort of suppose there is a survey and you are engaged with that survey activities, that is field survey. That is also a kind of fieldwork activities. Thereby you can gain some knowledge and also will get some money from that organization. Means you have to judge that whether it is benefited for me or not. What kind of survey it is, what kind of fieldwork it is. Because you are supposed to do that fieldwork under the guidance of any organization. So you decide that which will be proactive for you, which will be positive for you, which will be benefited for you, and then you can engage yourself. Problem confronted in service field placement. Problem confronted means you may be facing some problem. Suppose you are a working personnel and you are working in a organization, another organization for your field practicum. You may not be able, you may not finding some sufficient time to devote your time or spend time for your field practicum. That will be one of the constant for you. Or they may be assigning you some kind of activities and you are not doing that one in proper time, that will be also create a problem. Mind it. That is why there is a in your pro forma there is a sentence. Uh, uh, how far? Whether you have accomplished your assigned tax or not, there is a point in your field practicum. That means the agency must have assigned to you some kind of tax, and how much you accomplish that one you have to mention. If you are not mentioning, then you are failed. So that is why it is very important. This is some some of the problem faced by the student. There are number of potential problems which may arise when students attempt to combine jobs with field placement. The agency may emphasize productivity of the student's employee rather than the student's own learning. If job duties change, the position may no longer meet the criteria for social work activities for that student's concentration. So here it is already, I have already talked to you, that is, if they are paying something and if you are working as a staff there, or they have assigned any kind of activities, if you are not adequately doing that, then it will create a problem. That is the problem. Another one is job guidelines for in-service placement. So when you are placing in any organization, you have to look after these points. All of the required field hours must take place under the supervision of a new MSW field supervisor. This supervisor must meet the educational standards of the social work program. We were already discussed these things, that a supervisor under the experienced supervisor or approved supervisor or qualified supervisor only you will do the activities, and accordingly he will, measure your activity. Now we'll come to the students' learning expectation and responsibilities. I'll just discuss one point. Provision of comprehensive orientation of the student to the agency staff, client system, agency policies and procedures, safety concerns, supervision, expectations and requirements, casework requirements, legal and ethical requirements, provision of accomplishment orientation of the students to the agency staff. Okay, placement of placement content. In the placement content, what when you are placing in any organization, you have to follow the instruction of the organization. You cannot impose your will and pleasure to the organization. Rather, you have to follow the expectation or the responsibility given by the organization. If you are doing that one, then smoothly you can accomplish your fieldwork activities or field practicum. Experience with case management and networking responsibilities. Case management networking responsibilities means whatever you are doing case study, whatever responsibility is given to you, that you have to materialize, you have to manage that one, and thereby you also try to experience yourself. That will help you. Experience to interagency meetings or staffings. Experience to a diverse client problem population. Then suppose you are placed in Saliasai, suppose you are placed in any slum, big slum, or any other places where different type of people are there living together. So you have to experience different language, you have to experience different culture from the community people, so that it will also help you for your professional growth. Then university agency partnership, the uh, contractual agreement, international policies regarding accreditation and standards. So we will just skip to this point and we will see the standard with regard to program, curriculum, including field educations. See, whatever curriculum is designed by the IGNO, that you have to follow. You cannot add anything. But if it is because the sufficient guidelines, sufficient instruction is given by the IGNO. So we need to follow all these things. Suppose clear plans for the organization, implementation and evaluation of the theory and field education components of the program. Whatever education imparted in the class, that you have to materialize, that you have to implement during your field practicum. Involvement of service users in the planning and delivery of programs. Right. So in the organization setup, you need to also involve yourself in the planning process if they are inviting to you. If they are willing to you, then also you can participate. No, there is no any problem. Provision of orientation for fieldwork supervisor or instructors. Here it is very important thing is that while a instructor is going to instruct or the fieldwork supervisor is going for supervising to the learners, they need to also impart some orientation. They need to also some induction or how they will supervise, how they will monitor, how they will guide to the, the students, that need to be also understood. So that is why standard with regard to program curricula, including field education. Now, we will be discussing standards with regard to values and ethical codes of conduct of the social work profession. In view of the recognition that social work values, ethics, and principle are the core components of the profession, school should consistently aspire towards. That means I don't want to explain in details that whatever schools are imparting the social work education, they need to abide or they need to follow certain values, ethics, and principles, which is very, very important for the learners. If they are not following that one, then the students will deprive. So that is why it is very important for them. Now, we will come to the unit 4, that is principle and skills for social work and agency practice. Principle and skills for social work and agency practice. Here it is two things we have to understand. One is principle, another is skills. Principle, who will abide by the principle? The principle need to be abided by the agency. The principle need to abided by the learner. The principle need to be abided by the fieldwork supervisor, etc., etc. As well as you need to have some skills. The student need to have some skills. The instructor has to need some skills. the fields, the agencies, the faculty supervisor need to have some skills. Unless they do not have sufficient skills or appropriate skills, they cannot able to proper guide to their students. So, two things they need to understand. One is principle. Principle, whatever principle is given, that need to be abided or that need to be adhered by the student, by the teacher, by the agency. Now, some principle of social work practice. There are some general principles that focuses on the social worker. Being a social worker, what kind of principle that we need to follow? Number one, there are so many principles. Out of this principle, we will be discussing some of the principles. The social worker should practice social work. This is the first principle. A social worker should know that he is going to practice the social work. A student of social work is taught knowledge, skills, values, ethics, and principles of social work in the theory papers. Therefore, one is not expected to behave in an unprofessional manner. That means, while we are going to serve to any community or any agency through the in any agency, we must remember certain values, ethics, and principle of social work. There are general principle of social work and specific principle for different methods of social work. Those principles we need to adhere. Those principles we need to remember and apply during our social work practice. It is one of the principles. Second principle is the social worker should engage in conscious use of self. Conscious use of self. Social worker should always conscious to his own abilities, capabilities, and limitations. What is my limitation? I am a teacher. I should not act as a student. I am a student. I should not act as a teacher. So there are some limitations. That limitation we have to maintain. There are some abilities, own abilities, that we need to understand. There are some capacities. What kind of capacities we are having? If you do not have any capacity, you cannot do any kind of activities. When your capacity is permitting to do something, then only you do that one. Suppose I am teaching to you. If I am not capable enough to teach you, then I should not take the class. This is the principle. If I am not able to handle my students properly, then I should not become a fieldwork supervisor. This is the principle. So principle need to be abided by the teacher. Principle need to be abided by the social worker. Social worker means for all. You need to know, you need to, follow this principle while you are delivering the social service. The social worker should maintain professional objectivity. Already we have discussed. The social worker should respect human diversity. Human diversity means there are different type of people are there in our society. So we need to acknowledge them. We need to give dignity to them. We need to respect them. If you are not respecting them, then there is no value of rendering social service or social work. The social worker should challenge social injustice. When we are observing any kind of injustice that takes place in the agency or in the community, we need to challenge for that. That means I am not saying that you should go and book a FIR in the police station. You should not do that one. But somehow we need to face the challenges and try to solve the problem. Then the social worker should seek to enhance professional ability or competence. Social work should seek to enhance professional ability. Whatever professional abilities are required, that you need to enhance. You have to scaling of your ability. You have to develop your ability, competence. Then only you can able to solve the problem. Principle that focus on individual clients and client groups. What are the principles that focus for individual clients and client groups? Number one, the social worker should do no harm. That means when you are undertaking any case work, when you are undertaking any group work, by that time you have to follow these principles. Understand? What are these? What are these? What are those principles? The social worker should do no harm. You should not harm to any individual or client or group member. Number two, the social worker should engage in knowledge guided practice. The social worker should engage in value guided and ethical practice. The social worker should be concerned with the whole person. That means, suppose in a group there are 5 number of people. So you have to concern to all 5 members, not to only 2 to 3. You have to concern to everyone. That is very most important. Social workers should serve the most vulnerable member of society. A social worker, whom to serve? Vulnerable member of the society, which is very, very poor. The social worker should treat the client with dignity. Just before few minutes ago, I was saying to you that suppose you are dealing with Adivasi, means tribal. Suppose you are dealing with a poor person. Suppose you are dealing with a rural people. We should not see his caste. We should not consider to his wealth. We should not consider to his educational qualification. Rather, we should treat him as a human being and respect him, give dignity to those people. That is the value of social work. That is the principle of social work that we need to understand. While we are dealing with a client, while we are dealing with the case study, while dealing with a group work, by that time we have to follow these principles, right? Then the social worker should individualize the client. Again, the social worker need to give importance to the client. Whatever decision he is taking, you need to facilitate him to take his own decision, to overcome his own problem. Only will be facilitating. Rather, we should not impose anything to them. The social worker should consider client expertise on their lives. Then, the social worker should lend vision to the client. The social worker should build on client strengths. This is very important. Suppose you see any kind of weakness from from your client, you need to strengthen him. You need to support him. You need to help him to strengthen himself. Means you have to empower himself. You have to strengthen him, give some strength so that he can face his challenges, so that he can overcome the problem. The social worker should maximize client participation. Again, it is democratic decision, I am saying to you. Democratic decision, autocratic decision. Decision making, while it comes related to decision making process. Anything you are taking decision, you take the advice of the client, and he should participate in your decision making process. The social worker should maximize client self-determination. Means whatever he is taking decision, that will be final. Only you have to show the right direction. The social worker should help the client learn self-directed problem solving skills. The social worker should maximize client empowerment. The social worker should protect client confidentiality. Again, see, this is related to psychology. If a person losing his confidentiality, he cannot do effectively his work. So confidence building is very, very important. Therefore, we need to provide psychological support, emotional support. Thereby, somebody will build up his confidence. The social worker should adhere to the philosophy of normalization. The social worker should continuously evaluate the progress of the change process. The social worker should be accountable to client, agency, community, and the social work profession. Then, these are some of the skills that need to be obtained by the, sorry, these are some of the principles that need to be obtained, that need to be followed by the students as well as the, I mean the professionals, means teacher also. Understand? Are you getting me? Are you understand what I am saying to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. These are some of the principle. These principle need to be followed by the social work practitioners. Okay. Now we'll be discussing the communication skills. Communication skill for social workers. What is communication? Tell me, anybody, you tell me what is communication. What is communication? Communication skill means, what do you mean by communication? Communication skill. Anybody can speak?
Sir, exchange of ideas. मतलब, exchange of my views to others
Very
and
good.
others view to me.
Right. In communication, suppose I am communicating to you. Yes or no?
Yes,
I am
sir.
communicating. Teaching means I am communicating to you. Communication takes place by two persons. One is sender, another one is receiver. Understand? If sender communicating to a person is not able to, I mean, understand properly, then that communication is meaningless. Suppose I taught you today around 2 hours. Now it is 1.5 hours already passed, and you did not understand anything. You could not understand anything. Then, what is my taking? What is the value of my class? It is worthless. Yes or no?
Sir.
If you are not understanding to me, then my class is meaningless. That is why I should communicate you effectively. And when you are understanding, that is the effective communication. That is the effective communication. Okay. So transferring your views or opinion to somebody else through a medium is a communication. Okay. Anyway, so communication skills for social workers. Often speak for others rather than letting them speak for themselves. Often one does not listen to what others say. How you will be a good communicator? When you are listening to others. Suppose you are a case worker. What is your duty? You have to listen the problem of a what? Problem of a client or person who is a difficult person, who is a defunct person. If you are not listening carefully to their problem, you cannot address them properly. Suppose a doctor is not listening to patient's problem or disease, it is not possible on his part to provide adequate health service. That is why he need to understand. That is why he need to listen carefully the problem of a patient. Likewise, a social worker need to listen carefully the problem of the client. Then only he can be a good communicator. Then sometimes one assumes that others know or should know what one thinks and how one feels. Sometimes one allows prejudices, stereotypes, and presumptions to modify what others say. Sometimes one keeps silent, fearing that he or she does not have anything worthwhile to say. At times, one suppresses communication by ordering, threatening, preaching, patronizing, judging, or blaming. Uh, Sometimes what happens, we blame to someone. Sometimes we take the decision on behalf of them. That is also very bad things for ourselves. So, in general, what I can say, communication skills is required for a social worker. Understand? Communication, how? There are two types of communication. One is verbal communication, another one is non-verbal communication. Now I am talking with you verbal communication. It is a verbal communication. I am talking with you all in English language. So if I am not conversant with English, if you are not deliverable in English, then I cannot take the class of English. Therefore, before communication, before communicating something, you need to develop your linguistic knowledge. Whether you are deliverable or not. If it is not, then you should not go to that extent. If it is yes, then you will go. Now, basic communication and helping skills. What are the basic communication and helping skills? Creating an effective helping relationship. That is one of the skills. Communication and helping skills. Creating an effective helping relationship. Helping relationship you need to create. Otherwise, it is not possible. Empathy. You must have heard empathy and sympathy. Anybody can say the meaning of empathy, please? Empathy. Anybody can you say what is the meaning of empathy? Hello? Am I audible? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Madam, can you say what is the meaning of empathy? Do you know?
Empathy means someone's mental study for mental situation.
See,
Sir, someone would be
empathy
what?
and sympathy. You must have heard these two words, empathy and sympathy.
Yes, sir.
To,
Yes, sir.
okay. Somebody is facing problem and we realize that problem. As he is facing his problem, suppose I fell down in the road and I am getting pain. When
Yes, sir.
you felt yourself that as if you fell down in the road and you are also getting pain, that is empathy, right? So therefore, this is very important part that is very important part, that when you are facing any kind of when you heard somebody's problem and you bear a kind hearted or you extend your helping hand towards that problematic person, that is sympathy. When you feeling as he is feeling, as his pain, as he's facing the problem, and you are feeling that you are also facing that problem, and you are in that particular problem. If you are feeling in that way, then it is empathy. Understand? This is
Yes,
one of
sir.
the skill. Do you understand or what? Understand
Yes,
what I
sir.
said?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, that is empathy and
Yes.
positive regard. Always we should extend the positive regards, warmthness, genuineness. These are some of the skills, right? Helping skills. If you do not have these helping skills, you cannot become a good social worker. Therefore, these are some of the basic communication and helping skills. Beside this, another type of communication that I was saying, discussing with you, verbal and non-verbal, another one is verbal communication skills. Those intended to facilitate interpersonal helping and those intended to facilitate the exchanges of information within an agency, between agencies, and among the professionals. Now I am talking with a verbal communication. Already I have already uh, said you ki what kind of verbal communication you must have. That means you need to be you need to have multilingual communication skills. That means suppose you are working in a tribal community, you have to learn some of the language of, yes, some of the language of verbal communication. Language. Unless you are not learning, then it will not helpful to you. A willingness and desire to organize one's thoughts and present one's message in a way that will make it easy for others to follow and understand. You need to have willingness to listen others' problem, to understand others' problems. That that is comes under the verbal communication. Only a person will communicate to you, and you have to listen, and you have to address the problem. Again, while listening or receiving a message, the worker should remember some points. This is some of the etiquettes that a social worker should know. Suppose you are listening. Suppose now I am talking to you and you are listening to me. By that time, stop talking. You cannot listen if you are doing all the talking. Suppose I am talking and you will start talking. Then what will happen? Neither I will speak to you nor I will listen to your words. It will create the problem. So, during the class or during the interaction with a client, you should not talk. You should not intervene anything. You just listen to his uh, talking. Demonstrate verbally and non-verbally that you want to listen. Show your attention. Let the person know that you care for what he or she is trying to say. It is. It can be through eye contact. That skills are there that we will later on we will discuss. While you are talking with someone, your eye contact must be with your client. You are something to your client and you are listening, you are looking to some other side, then he will think that you are not concentrating to his words, his problem. Therefore, you need to concentrate yourself to these many things. Again, do not interrupt. Be patient with the message sender. Suppose I have a flow and I am taking the class right now, interacting with you. If you suddenly interrupt me, means stopping me and saying something, then it will disturb to me. After ending of my class or after ending the sentence, if you ask anything, that will be good for me. But in the meanwhile, if you are saying anything, that will be disturb to me. That is very much you need to keep in your mind. Ask question if needed to, to clarify his or her message. Whatever message you are listening, if you are not able to understand or she is not able to understand, then both of you can ask question to each other and make the clarification. That is no problem. Now we will be coming to non-verbal communication skills. What are the non-verbal communication skills? We are talking now the verbal communication skills, and now we'll be discussing non-verbal communication skills. Non-verbal communication skills is body language. Through your organs, you are just saying something through the sign, and the sender will understand. Your receiver will understand through your non-verbal communication. What are non-verbal communication? The first and foremost non-verbal communication, you must be knowing eye contacts. Eye contacts. Eye contacts is non-verbal communication. You must be knowing. Suppose you want to call someone, there is a eye sign. Through eye, you can call to someone. Suppose you want to stop somebody speaking and you want to stop him. There is a eye contacts. Through that, you can stop to say something to others. So, eye contacts is one of the non-verbal communication, medium of non-verbal communication. Another one is gesture of greetings. Suppose you are saying namaskar. That means we are just in this way we are saying. Suppose we are not saying namaskar, but we hold this type of your hand and we extend namaskar. That means it indicates that I am giving respect to him. Noting down of your heads. That means whatever I am saying, you are understanding. That is also the body gesture of greetings. Body positioning. Your body position. How you are sitting. How you are sitting. How you are standing. That also indicates some of the information. That implies some of the information. So, we need to be very conscious to our eye contact. We need to be very conscious to gesture of greeting. We need to be very conscious to body positioning. And another one is facial expression and other movements. Sometimes we are laughing. Sometimes we are smiling. Through smiling, we indicate that he's doing good, or we are praising to something. Through our facial expression, we also sometimes we show our aggressiveness, angriness, our sadness, sorrowfulness, regretfulness, etc. etc. So, facial expression is also one of the non-verbal communication skills. So when you are dealing with the client and group and in the community, you need to be very cautious to your verbal communication as well as non-verbal communication. Tone of voice, dress and appearance. Dear students, your voice, soothing voice, sometimes we say soothing voice. When Lata Mangeshkar sings song, when Asha Bhosle sings songs, what we say? Oh, so nice singer. Beautiful. Very interesting, we are saying. Why? because of their soothing voice, because of their uh, uh, very interesting voice. So voice, rude voice. There are some rude voice. There are some uh, very conducive voice, means a very good, uh, sweet voice. You may not be good looking, but sometimes your voice may be very interesting, very good. I, I have some experiences with some of my friends, say it is girls or some boys also. They don't they don't look good, but their voice is very good. So soothing voice, so sweet voice. We can say sweet voice. By voice also somebody will incline towards them. So your voice need to be very soothing, sweet towards the your client. And your dress and appearance. Suppose you have not cut your hair. Suppose you are going just like a Babaji. That means what I can say, uh, like monk. If you are going, then nobody will respond to you. Suppose you are going as a priest, sometimes people will fear to you. Sometimes you are going as a gunda, means a police dress, or any means a antisocial dress code. If you are wearing any kind of antisocial dress code, that will also not permit to you to accept by the clients. So you need to see your dress code, you need to see your voice, you need to see your appearance while you are entering to, while you are talking to anybody. You need to wear a neat and clean dress. If you are wearing a dirty dress, nobody will sit with in front of you because it will smell, bad smell. So you be very cautious to you yourself. Then another one is helping skills. Verbal skills we understood, non-verbal skills we understood. Now we will come to the helping skills. Getting ready, getting started, the then asking questions, active listening. These are some. These are some of the. These are some of the helping skills. Getting started and asking questions, active listening. I'll tell you the asking active listening. Who is active listening? A social worker must be a active listener. A social worker must be active listener. Active listener, passive listener, you must have heard. Means your body and mind and soul need to be present while you are dealing with the problem of a client. We are listening to others. By that time, be very, very cautious to these many things. Unless you are not cautious, unless you are not concentrating to these aspects, then your work will be derailed. Derailed means it will go in a different way. Therefore, you need to be active listener. Active listening, a worker attends both the verbal as well as non-verbal communication of the client and get back to the client in order to him or her know that his or her message has been accurately understood. This is what called active listening. Verbal and non-verbal. communication, whatever made by the messenger, that we need to listen carefully. That is active listening. Unless you are not active listener, you cannot solve the problem of the client. That is very much important. Understanding emotion and feeling and responding to defense communication. This is also another important thing. Understanding emotions and feelings. Whose emotion and feelings you will understand? Whose emotion? Client's emotion. Client's feelings. That's why I said empathy. Empathetic to his emotion, empathetic to his feelings. Means as if whatever he is thinking, you need to think like him. Take his position and think like him so that he can understand the problem of that person. Guidelines for agency practices, where your elements of professional behavior and making ethical decisions. I was saying about the cross-cultural helping. Cross-cultural, whatever your culture, if you are working in other culture, then you have to understand their culture and work with them. Then only it will be effective work. Guideline for agency practice. First is reporting. Whatever you are learning, that you have to report every day, daily report. You have to maintain the daily report. And letter writings. You need to have a letter writing skills. Talking on the telephone, then using information technology and maintaining case notes for narrative recording. It is also another important thing. Using information technology and maintaining case notes for narrative recording. Information technology, you may be you may be record the voice records, you may be sometimes videography also you can take without the knowledge of the client. And that will help you to note or to help you to record narrative. Because everything you may not be, I mean, remember. And before the client also sometimes you may not use the khata and pen, notebooks every time. If you are using them, then they may be also taking otherwise. Then process of recording. What is the some of the component that can be included in process of recording include name of those in attendance at interview or meeting, date, location, length and purpose of the session, students plan for session. These are some of the description of interaction and content. These are some of the process of recording, and this process you already mentioned in your journal. My dear students, you can follow the journal. In the journal, the process is already there. Suppose name of the agency, name of the agency supervisor, name of the FWS, feedback supervisor, faculty feedback supervisor, then objective of that day, and activities undertaken, uh, then clientele delivery service, teamwork, social techniques used, then uh, mm, the assignment done so far. These many points are there which you need to follow. Then date, location, and length and purpose of the session. That means how, how, how many hours you did that work. Then in your journal that is there. Time. Suppose 10 to 4 p.m. How many hours? It is there. Duration. That also you need to write. This is the process of recording. And I am telling to you, you should not fear to write all these things. If you write it in rough, then you will fire into your journal. Then there is no any problem. One one recording, show to your fieldwork supervisor that this is this in this pro forma I am maintaining the record. If, and he will correct it, and then follow to stick to your correction and write the next records. There is no any problem for you. But follow the process of recording. These many things are there in your journal and in your book also. Date, location, students plan for session. What I am saying just before I am saying to you, whatever you are whatever you want to do, you have to do it in a planning manner. What to do, how to do, which to do. Means you plan that for 30 days, what sitting with your fieldwork supervisor, you plan that what kind of activities I have to do within these 30 days. Devise the activities and do that activity so that it will easy to write your reports. No one is perfect. Even I am also not perfect. I am saying that I am also not perfect. But I am learning from books. I am learning from YouTube. I am learning from my seniors. I am learning from my friends. When I gets doubts, what is wrong with taking advice from others? There is nothing any wrong. I am not that much of conversant computer. I take the assistance of some of my students. What is wrong with this? Nothing any wrong. I am advising you when you are writing any reports. If you are getting confused, then you take advice from your general other MSW students, those who are already passed out in your periphery. They can also advise you. Although they are not approved counselor, but then they can advise you. Follow their suggestion and write the reports. Nothing problem for you. And controlling workload is the last part. Controlling workload means whatever workload is given to you, whatever limitations you have, whatever capacity you have, you do that work. Beyond your capacity, beyond your work, beyond your capacity or beyond your, mm, resource, beyond your time schedule, you don't take any assignment. It will overloaded to you and you will frustrated. Therefore, you limit your workload. And sometimes it is said in this chapter that sometimes what happens when we are working in any organization, suppose you are placed in in an organization, there the organization member may be assigned to you some administrative work. Suppose they have lack of employees, and you want they will deploy you as a supervisor. They will employ means assign as a supervisor to to visit to a community. Suppose there is a project is going on behalf of that organization. You have to do that one work as a staff. Clerical, you may sometimes you may be doing the clerical work, data entry work. Sometimes you may be doing the official work, means coordinators work and like that. So you need not to be frustrated, or you need not to be afraid of it, uh, afraid of this. But honestly, you take the burden, and if the burden is so high, then you leave it that one. Excuse. Please ask them for excuse, and then you can smoothly do your work. Thank you. If you have any doubts, please ask me, then we will wind up this class today. Anything, doubts? Tapaswini, Satyajit, and Vijay Lakshmi or Prashant, Sushma, and some other students are there. If
No,
any
sir.
doubts,
No, sir. Thank you. Thank you
No,
very
sir.
much, sir.
thank you. No, no doubts. Okay. If there is no doubts, means that means you have understood everything. My class,
No, sir.
when
I am. We are trying to listen you carefully, and after that, वो पढ़ाई करेंगे ना बुक्स पूरा उसके बाद मतलब फिलहाल तो डाउट नहीं है अभी आपने पढ़ाए वो हमने ध्यान से सुने उसके बाद फिर पढ़ाई करेंगे ना एकदम से और फील्ड में
ठीक ठीक
जाएंगे तो डाउट्स तो आएगा ही आएगा फिलहाल अभी तक डाउट नहीं है आपने अच्छे से समझा है
Are
थैंक यू
you
सर
from
थैंक यू
Odisha
सर
or you are from outsider?
नो सर ओडिया ओडिया
Okay, very good. You are very you are speaking in good Hindi, right? Good, good. Anyway, जो जो लोग काम करेंगे वो ही प्रॉब्लम फेस करेंगे, ठीक है?
यस सर
जो
यस सर
जो रिस्क टेकर्स they only face the problem and they are only the winners.
यस
Those who are
सर
not risk taking, they are the cowards. Means Bhiru. We are saying
यस सर
Bhiru in
यस
India.
सर
The
यस सर
coward.
यस सर
Therefore, you need not to worry that whether I will able to do this field work or not. It is very hard. Don't think in that way. It is very easy. If you are if you are understood properly, then very easy. See, you are very flexible. As a student, we are not strictly, I mean, evaluating your, means your fieldwork journals. We are very flexible, that I am saying, already told to you all. So no need to fear, but just few things you need to remember, and before starting of your fieldwork journal, you go through this book, study this one at least, and go for the doing the field practicum. Nothing, any problem. Okay. Thank
यस सर
you.
योर सर योर courage is our motivation
See, I am I am I am very much student friendly.
यस
Very much
सर
student friendly.
यस सर यस
Even sometimes during your class also, one of my IGNO students already called me. She is undergoing operation and she has requested me, sir, please give me time. I said, yes, after 6 o'clock, I may be available to you. So
यस सर
sometimes I
जस्ट
went
लाइक
to their office and their place also.
यस सर
I don't see
जस्ट लाइक
my
ଆପଣ ଯେମିତି କହିଲେ ଲତା ମଙ୍ଗେଶକରଙ୍କ ଭଏସ ଟା ବହୁତ ସୁଦିଂ ଏଣ୍ଡ ସଫ୍ଟ ସେମିତି ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଟିଚିଂ ବି ସାର୍
thank you, thank you. It is a reward for me.
ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ
Thank you. Okay. Thanks a lot. I expect tomorrow
Sir,
also by
Kavita
this.
madam had some questions. I think she has raised her hand.
Okay, please tell me.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Today I found this is my first class with under your leadership, and I found this class very active session for me, and I gained some knowledge also. So it is very useful session for me. And another doubt is having with my mind. I have not received any books regarding this, which now Susma Rani was talking about that she is going to read the books, but I have not received any books till yet.
Journal. Are you
Yes,
saying
sir.
journal?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I can suggest you, if you have not received any journal, then you simply write a mail to IGNO, first regional office, and then you can write to Delhi. If they are not sending to you, then you can download from the website of IGNO. MSW 13, 14, 15, and 16. I have also that journal, download journal. If you want, then you can take from me also. So, and you get it Xerox it and binding it and then write over there. Because of course you will spend some money for that. You are already paid money to IGNO, and IGNO has you have the right to get the journal from IGNO. You write mail. You can talk also telephonically because and ask regarding your problem. Since I am an academic counselor, I cannot solve your problem. Try to understand. This problem is a genuine problem for everybody, but I cannot provide you book. It is it is the matter that you brought into notice to the IGNO officials. Understand? Through mail. Huh? If they are not responding, then you
So
should go
actually,
for.
I visited to the office, but they asked me to wait for some more days. Since it is getting so delayed, so that's why I was worried about this. Uh,
Yes. So you write that you simply write that, sir, I had been to your office on dated this, and I assured by you to wait for some days. These many days already I have waited, but till now I have received my feedback journal. So how come I will write my journal? Therefore, please send me as soon as possible my journal, fieldwork journal, MSW 13, 14, 15, 16, so that I can able to start my fieldwork, field practicum. That way you can write
yes,
two,
sir,
three
sure, sir.
reminders you give. If not responded by them, then you'll go for this option. It is my advice. Understand? Sometimes
Yes,
we
sir.
have to take some extra option in order to solve our problem. You are getting my point.
Yes, sir. Yes,
If
sir.
you rigid and if you will wait for more time, then your time will waste. Sometimes it happens. I also understood, but many students they get Xerox from the original blank journal from other students, and then they make it a new journal book and write over there. That that things also they are doing, but that is not advisable. Since you have already paid, so why not you will ask again and again to the IGNO? If the IGNO is not hearing, then I cannot say anything. Then you will go
So I am
for
not dropped any mail to them. It's a good idea. I will try to send them mail and I
yes,
will
yes,
give
madam.
them reminder.
You remind them, and definitely they will listen to your problem. So far, my knowledge is concerned.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any doubts? Any
Sir,
doubts or?
So the
Uh,
session was very clear to all. So I don't think I am not having any doubts, sir.
thank you, thank you.
sir,
Anybody?
sir, they have IGNO has dispatched two books in the address I have given. The same problem with Kavita ma'am. I dropped them a mail and they told me to visit one of the sites.
Mhm.
Uh, so when I visited, it had revealed that only two books have been dispatched, and I was advised to wait for some more.
Mhm.
So this is February, and we are going to appear the exam in June.
Sir,
So,
that is why I am saying to you, have patience, but there is a limitation of patience, right? And
Yes,
it
sir.
is your career. You are going to build your career. Hmm. So in different universities, these difficulties are there. I don't want to say more in this platform. So I request you, I advise you, again you go for, I mean, request mail to provide you the fieldwork journal.
sir, just a
And
query.
and another thing, if it is possible, if you are available in nearby to Bhubaneswar or some other places, which one is your regional center? Bhubaneswar or Dhenkanal or
Sir, JKBK College, Kotak.
no, no,
For me
JKBK,
also, it's JKVK College Cuttack. I have
JKBK
visited
college.
also.
See, JKBK college is a study center.
Regional is Bhubaneswar, sir.
Regional is Bhubaneswar. So in Bhubaneswar, you can talk to Jana sir. Okay, Jana sir is in charge of the, I mean, he's looking after this one. And also you can talk to the regional director also. Uh, they will listen to your problem. Okay, you
Sir,
can,
another query.
hmm.
Is it possible that we have the previous year books and some books downloaded from internet and like that, and we have the assignments available in that IGNO site, that this year we have to do all these assignments for our papers? Is it
Hmm.
possible that from those and having previous year IGNO books, can we prepare the assignments which are needed to be submitted?
No, no, please tell me again. I
Sir,
could not
we have the
understand.
questions for the assignments available in the
Hmm.
internet, which ID they have given, and we have some
Hmm.
books of previous years from our friends and from IGNO side somewhere else. Is it possible to prepare the assignments by following previous year books, or which material we have, excluding those IGNO which is going to provide us?
Oh, okay. See, I will explain. I will answer to this your question. Assignment, you download assignment from the website. Number one,
Yes,
number one, and whatever books available with you.
yes, sir.
From that book, you answer the question. Um,
Yes, sir.
Answer the question for the assignments. Understand?
Yes,
20
sir.
marks, there are two 20 marks. There are two questions from
No, yes,
20 marks, 10 marks, 5
yes,
marks, and 4 marks.
yes,
Altogether, 100 marks question you have to answer. Right?
yes, sir.
So, you download the recent one only. Understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Available.
Recent question download and recent books, whatever recent books are available from that book, you answer it.
Right, sir.
Understand?
Sir.
That will be good for you. It is my advice.
Yes, sir.
And attach your question. Always attach your question
Yes,
and
sir.
write properly. One should appreciate to your, I mean, word and sorry, your sentences. That means your how you are presenting. That is also matters.
Sir, yes.
Casually and carelessly don't write the assignments. When
Yes.
the teachers are evaluating all these things, they may be taking it other way. Sometimes students are very casual to submitting their assignments, and they are also losing somehow they are also losing their marks. Okay, yes, good handwriting is very important. First write the question, then answer it. Put the number, question, and answer. So that the evaluator will evaluate properly. Okay. This is not a problem. I think, this is not a problem for you all. But don't go for DTP. You use your handwriting. Okay. So that it will be good for you. Okay. Thank you. We will, already it is 6:13. We will stop here now your class.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Most welcome.
Thank you, sir.
If,
Thank you,
if
sir.
any doubts, you can call to me after this class, after 1 hour or 2 hours. You can have, if you have any doubts, sometimes you can also disturb me. No problem. Okay. Thank you.
So we don't have your contact number, sir.